Hey, tonight's shave. We're stepping back into the marathon with my Nacet blade. It's got 120 shaves on it. There are 50 dots on this side and 70 dots on this side. I think there are a few spaces where I can put, and maybe I can fit 150 dots on here before I have to switch to something else. But it's been giving me great shaves. I took a week or two's break off of it. We're gonna do a consecutive 10-day or 10 shave run to get it to 130, and then I'll decide what I want to do from there. And so let's take it on out. These little folds, someday they're just going to break right off because I keep doing it and undoing it. So here's the blade. This is the business side. This is the side that is the bottom, and then here's the top. I've been putting it the same orientation for all the shaves because at the end I'm going to flip it over and see if it shaves any differently, and that might help us to know the answer to the question: does it really last longer if you flip it? Thought it might be a neat test. If you've been following any of my marathon shaves with this blade, you'll know that by now the Gillette Sheraton, a vintage razor, is the one that really best works with this blade. I'm going to try something different. Since I used it last, I've gotten hold of this Timeless, and it's an open comb. Those tend to be more aggressive than their closed comb siblings. Now, it's not even the 95, it's the 68, and which is the more mild head. However, the open comb version actually feels a little aggressive to me and my skin. So I thought, let's try it with the Nacet. Okay, so I've got the Nacet loaded up there, and just drop that guy in. Then this is the Timeless knurled handle. Let's see, I've got my Sheraton standing by in case I need to switch to it. But let's just see if we have another contender that has the right geometry to use this blade. All right, loaded up. Okay, the soap for today is a brand I have not tried before, Jeeves of Hudson Street. And this is the Barbershop. It is something cool, veteran owned, and just haven't used this one. Now, here's a funny thing. When I smelled this, when I got it a few weeks ago, I smelled something totally different. Right now, all I'm getting is amber. And, you know, your nose tricks you sometimes because whatever you've smelled previous to smelling something, it can affect what you pick up. And so if I had something spicy, then if I come to this, I may pick out different twinges of it. If I have something that's a whole different spice arena or a scent arena, then I'm going to pick out other things. And I can tell you, I have not smelled this and picked up amber to this degree in the many times I've smelled it. But anyway, that's the dry scent. We'll see how it smells once we wet it up. This guy is the 1800 Semogue 1800 Boar brush. He's been soaking, not for the usual hour or two that I've been doing lately. It's really more for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes because I'm traveling and I didn't have the chance to do my normal kind of routine. The blade's loaded, and I have my cool Roger Quintero 3D bowl. I'll put a link to that in the comments if you want to be able to print your own. Oops. And that's what happens when you pick it up by the lid and you haven't screwed the lid on to the soap. Okay, so Barbershop. I hope something more than the amber comes out. Not a big amber fan. It's been used before, so I got it at a great discount. 30-second load, and we'll start it in about 4 seconds. And oh, you know what? I want to get this guy just a little more wet. I slung him out to try to make a better picture. I'm going to shake a lot of the water off. Okay. Yeah, when it hits 15, we'll start, and then we'll stop at 45. Have not used this base before, so we'll just try it. Already we are getting some suds. I can feel it getting creamier. My phone setup here is a little bit different. I have to hold the things a little higher. 5 more seconds. Lots of stuff coming off there, and there we go. Well, it's sure. Looks like it'll be plenty of soap. Just put some water on my face as a pre-splash. It's cold. It's cold today. It's in the winter. And this is pretty soft water at this location, so that's pretty cool. And we're ready to go. So, see what happens. It's really nice having this big bowl today for another practical reason other than the fact that I have plenty of room for my lather. But all my gear is at a different location. I'm at somebody else's house, not my own. And so it acted as my kit carrier. I was able to stick both razors, Sharpie that I used to put the dots on the envelope, aftershave, and brush, all that. Okay, well, this is nice. Coming together pretty quick. And we'll start. Oh, I forgot to bring my dropper, so I'm not going to be able to do precise measurements. It's just the way it goes. Matter of fact, I may have just added as much water as this whole thing's going to need. And that's why I like the dropper, because a lot of times when you pour, too much comes out. And this is very airy right now because of all that water I just added, but let's just see if it will firm up into a nice lather. Now, since this is a 3D printed bowl, there's a little bit of a texture nature to the inside. Obviously, you've seen those spirals in there, but even the flat surfaces kind of have a texture since the bowl is printed in layers with the 3D printer. And so that's actually making it a little more noisy. I'm sure it does some cool things in terms of helping to aerate the lather and all that. So there is a little bit of noise difference. I don't think if I have overwatered it, I don't think it's by much. Maybe. Look at that. Yeah, there we go. Getting more firm, but look at that elasticity. Nice. Nice. Who knows? Maybe that was the perfect amount of water and I just lucked into it. Okay, let's do a finger check. Definitely feel the ridges in my fingerprints. So let's play it safe and go ahead and use this, and we'll see if maybe it may need more water. but that's easy enough to add after the fact. Haven't really had a barbershop scent be so amber focused. Yeah, some other things are coming out, so that's good. Let's just see how it feels when we put it on. The tips on this brush are super comfortable. Really happy with that. In my soaking, I'm not really needing to soften those tips. You know, if like I don't think I really need to kind of break it in anymore, but yeah, lots of splay, not a lot of backbone in this brush. A little bit of scrub. How does that look? You know what? I'm going to go to the soap here and get just a little bit more. I bet I overwatered it a little bit. And then let's rub that around on my face a little bit. Then I'll dip the tips of my brush in this water. Yeah, that's creaming up a little bit. There, yes, that's much better. Creamier. Needed that. More opaque. I saw a post recently online on one of the shave forums. Talked about something pretty cool. The guy went in and talked to the doctor. I think he has, some skin concerns, and so that's part of his regular yearly regimen. And he was talking about exfoliating, and how we sometimes talk about shaving brushes as doing some exfoliation, especially, and I think this post was talking about a badger doing that. Well, the doctor said basically, don't think about a brush as doing any exfoliation, especially something with soft tips like a badger, because it just doesn't. That's not enough of a scrub to do any exfoliation. Oh yeah, it feels slick. And also, especially if you have sensitive skin, or don't do any kind of exfoliating scrub or anything like that before your shave or even after, because your first pass is going to do all the exfoliation you need, is what the doctor said. And so any more than that, and you're actually getting to where razor burn and irritation might come into play because you're exfoliating too much, you're moving too much of that the dead skin layer, and you're getting to where you shouldn't. So if you shave with this kind of razor, it seems like what the doctor said was, don't do any kind of exfoliation regimen, and don't assume that your brush is doing it for you, because it's not. So there we go. Little passing on something I thought it seemed right, seemed pretty logical, because that's what blades do. They shave off the top layer of skin there. Lather feels good. It's not really smelling very much. I'd say it's a 3 out of 10, almost indiscernible. Try to pay attention to it next time I'm lathering up. See if it's a little bit stronger then. All right, so this is a Nacet blade. Generally only my Sheraton can handle it with 120 uses on it. So this is 121. Let's see if the geometry of this particular head will let me use it at this age as well. This may be a rough shave. Ooh. Kind of feels good at first. Interesting. do feel a little bit of pulling, but it's not a big deal at all. See if this soap feels pretty slick. I do have a little more hair, more beard growth today than usual, because I'm actually shaving at 5:30 in the morning. I haven't gone to sleep yet. Usually shave a few hours earlier. All right, pretty nice first pass. Might be able to switch back and forth between the Sheraton and this razor for this particular blade at this age. All right, rinse time. And we'll take the lather here. Gather up some more. Was not tons of slickness that I rinsed off just now, but sometimes that's typical for rinsing off a first pass. This is a comfortable brush. Great one to have if you shave with aggressive razors, because it's just nice. It's not going to give you brush burn. At least it doesn't come anywhere near giving me brush burn in tender areas that might be worked over by a blade. Very good. See how the second pass goes. Comfortable shave so far. This is a very enjoyable pass with all that heavy lifting done in the first one. May have just scratched my skin a little too tight right there. See if we get any razor rash right there. And rinse. As usual, rinsing off, that second pass was more slick and not quite luxurious feeling. It was a little more wet, too wet for me to call it luxurious, and creamy. A little bit of creaminess to it. But definitely felt like it was a good performing lather, good slickness. I feel like the razor is sliding around really nicely on my skin. So very, very good with that. Let's grab the third pass here. Left a little bit of water on my face. I think I have a couple of little weepers. We'll have to check it out. Yeah, I'm getting the amber scent, but it's really low strength. So this particular soap is a pretty weak scented soap. 3, maybe 4 out of 10, maybe 4 out of 10. I'd probably say a solid 3. Some people might think it's a 4, some people might think it's a 2. So I'm going to put it right there in the middle in terms of scent strength. Not all that strong, but seems like the performance is good, so I'm happy about that. All right, third pass. I believe with the Sheraton, maybe other razors as well, when you have a blade that you're taking quite far, having it be rough for you is, may not be what you're going to experience when it gets to its end of life. My guess, based on how my shaves have been, is that at end of life it's just going to start not cutting as well, and so you'll find yourself maybe having to do more passes, and that'll be a pretty gradual scale, so you could pick, when am I going to stop using it? When it stops giving me flush cuts, when it stops giving me, when I can see my stubble afterwards, that kind of thing. In terms of comfort, I think the comfort level is going to stay pretty well in a good zone. At least that's my guess, based on this many shaves. All right, I'm going to rinse and inspect. Okay, so I actually ended up getting a pretty good cut, which is amazing for 121 uses, right? Several, so maybe on the order of 6 to 9 hairs are in my little trouble spot area that I can see a little bit of length on the tip. Everything else has been cut pretty flush, and that's about average to better than average for me, so I'm really happy with that result. This razor is not as comfortable. It leaves my skin a little more tender than the Sheraton. So, little fact. One neat thing about the soap, nothing else really came out in the soap other than the amber. So, it's kind of two strikes against it in my book. I don't really like amber all that much. It can be a supporting ingredient, but I need other things to take the lead, my preferences. And then too, it was lightly scented, too lightly scented to really be a part of the shave. So there's just lots of other medium scented soaps out there that I would gravitate toward first. All right, I decided to bring, because my wife doesn't really like the smell of this. There's a gel, and it's just $2, and it does a pretty good job for me. So I decided to, since I'm traveling, to use this stuff. And I am not going to do another half pass on my neck like I sometimes do. Probably put a little bit more goo on than I really needed to, but there we go. All right, so happy with the closeness. The Sheraton's a little nicer of a shave, a little bit more comfortable. How much lather did I have left over? Probably one pass. Maybe I could squeeze out, I bet I could squeeze out 2 if I had to. So to me that seems like about the right amount. So that ended up, I think, to be roughly a 40-second load, because I did do a little bit extra to get more, to make it a little richer. I would probably think that if I could measure the amount of water that I poured in, and I can't, then I think this is about as wet as I would want to get it. And if I wanted a more creamy, luxurious shave, I could back off of the water a little bit, but like I said, can't measure. All right, but really happy with the 1800. It's not a huge knot, but it's very nice to my skin. A lot of nice flow through, and it mixes the lather quickly because it's not so dense. And I like the tips, very comfortable, and they're just going to get better and better since it's a Boar. Already told you about the soap. Seems to be a good performing base, so that much we know. I had a nice amount of slickness. Another thing was it wasn't so much slickness that that it took a long while to rinse away in between passes. There are some soaps that are like that, and you know who you are. And but an average amount of time was all it took to clean it off your face, but yet it still provided a good glide for your razor. So I think it's a good soap base. Obviously, that's probably why they've been around for a while. And I think we're good to go. I have another razor that I am going to be shaving with tomorrow. I don't know if I'll go back to my Sheraton. I may do this one again since it is capable of wielding the older Nacet blade with efficiency. It's just a little less comfortable, so who knows, maybe I'll stick with the Sheraton. But I got a hold of the F-plate on my carved Christopher Bradley razor, and that's as high as he goes. The E-plate I cannot shave with if I have a young blade in it. It's too aggressive for my skin and hair. However, I can use the E maybe when it was 80 uses, 70 uses, something like that. The E was actually good. Well, I figured let's complete the set. Maybe sometimes that F might be at a better geometry than the E. And I've got this blade. Let's see. It's a long shot. It's probably not going to work. So we'll try that carve Christopher Bradley razor with its highest, most aggressive plate with my oldest blade. And we'll see if the smoothness of the blade and the geometry work out to a usable shave. I'm going to do some cleaning up. One of the great things I like about these Semogue Boar brushes is that most of the ones that kind of look like this are just $12 or $15. The user on eBay called Portuguese Factory is the official Semogue factory over in Portugal. And often I find that because they offer free shipping that they're about the cheapest place to get them. You do have to be patient and wait for it to come, a few weeks, but you get nice cost savings, and and these are so comfortable. These are soft, and you get a certain amount of luxury with them at such a low cost. And so I think they're a great entry-level brush as long as you recognize that they have a break-in period, and I'm really happy with this little 1800. Very cool. So I don't know if I was super clear on the beginning of the video, but this is the Timeless 68 gap, which is their mild gap. However, when they do, the blade's gone. When they make it an open comb, it makes it, for me, significantly more aggressive than its solid bar counterpart. I really get a great smooth shave from the 68 solid bar. This one is a different animal. This is the scalloped top cap, and that of course matches the open comb part there. And I already told you about this is the knurled handle, and this is a fully stainless steel razor. I like to clean the parts off, prevent staining in the future. So from the dry puck, I do not get anything other than amber from this Jeeves of Hudson Street Barbershop. When it's in bowl form and I put the bowl up to my nose, I do pick up some other notes, and they're pretty cool, but I don't get them at all when the lather's on my face and when I'm using it. So it's just a little too weak. By the way, you should be concerned with wooden handles. Concerned enough not to soak them. That's my preference. Not to soak them when you soak the brush prior to the shave. I just soak the bristles. But in terms of getting it wet during the shave, don't be concerned about that at all, because all you have to do is just make sure it's dry at the end of the shave. Make sure that wherever you sit it is not in water. And I think that the wooden handles will last you a very long time, because after all, it's a Boar, and you will be using it hundreds of times before it gets to this wonderful sweet spot of really comfy split tips. And you don't want to start that all over again if you don't have to, by having to train another brush because you messed up the wooden handle. So it turns out after my shave, I'm smelling myself, and it's this blue scent that comes with this gel. And I'm going to try to use less of it tomorrow and see if that calms it down a little bit, because it's just a little strong. And in a whatever scent that blue scent is, pretty clean blue. It's not really a spicy blue or anything like that. I'm not really enjoying it too much. It was worth a try. It's just $2. But we'll use a little bit less and see if maybe the scent will die down a little bit. Because it's been like 10 minutes now and it's still going pretty strong. Well, there we go. It's been a long drive today. Late shave. Going to bed pretty late. But it's all done now. And face feels good. Happy with the shave. Great to try out this particular razor with this old blade. I believe I made mention of the other things that I was happy or not happy about. Hopefully there's something here for you that helps you out. You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Have a good night.